Hello, and welcome to episode number 344, I believe, of the TEW 28 Challenge Run. This is going to be Monday Night Raw for week 2 of March 2023, and it is the next Raw on the road to WrestleMania, the first Raw after Elimination Chamber, when we crowned the new number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Nova Nebula won that titular match in the main event. She will face Charlotte Flair for the belt at the grandest stage of them all. We also had one of the best matches of the entire series when Gunther defeated Ilja Dragunov to retain the World Heavyweight title, and we're going to hear a lot more about the future of that belt on tonight's show. But we do have a gauntlet to determine the Raw Tag Team Championship number 1 contenders tonight, and we have a lot of promo segments. We have Dominic's career funeral for Rey Mysterio. We have the state of the World Heavyweight Championship. We have a couple other big segments I don't think I announced beforehand. But yeah, without any further ado, let's jump straight into tonight's show. Nice. I don't know why Charlotte's on screen. She shouldn't be. But I hope that doesn't mean I rated her, and I hope the 98 was all because of Nova. Because Nova comes out. She's the first face on the show after she won the Chamber last week. And she says, as someone who spent a lot of time, looking into, the finer aspects of life, the world beyond ours, and the fate and the destinies that may tie up. I wasn't so sure that I was living in a multiverse where I would be heading to WrestleMania to wrestle for the Raw Women's Championship. But here I am. Now, Charlotte, she's good, She's one of the greatest women's, if not the greatest women's wrestler of all time. And I've got my work cut out for me at WrestleMania, but for her, this is just another title defense. She was built into this. She was molded by her family and by this company to be the success that she's gone on to become. I'm just a weird alien girl, I'm not supposed to be on Charlotte Flair's level, yet here I am. So, this is just my word of warning, Charlotte, if you're back there, if you can indeed hear what I'm saying. WrestleMania, you're probably going to think it's going to be a cakewalk. You probably celebrated when I won last week thinking, I don't have to deal with Rhea, I don't have to deal with Bianca, but no, you're worse, bitch, you're going to deal with me. And that's going to be a problem, because come WrestleMania, I've got nothing to lose. Okay? You've got everything to lose by losing to a rookie like me. I've got nothing to lose. This is my first real shot at this title. And I'm going to make it mine. And then out come the Queen's Court, Aaliyah, Skylar, and Jordan. No Charlotte. I know she's on screen, but I didn't mean to put her on screen. Just the 3 members of the Queen's Court. And Jordan's like, well, no, it's bold of you. It's glad that you've actually come out here and actually, for once, be honest with us, because, you're not on Charlotte's level. The Queen, having to wrestle you at WrestleMania, quite frankly, tarnishes her incredible WrestleMania legacy. But you're not it. You're not on her level. In fact, she doesn't even want to come out here and see you. You don't have her respect like that. The Queen, Charlotte Flair, is going to steamroll you and roll over you at WrestleMania. And then Nova just laughs. She goes, see? Exactly what I was just saying, Overconfidence. That will be your Queen's downfall. But since you guys are out here, and you're dressed to compete, how about me and you right now, and I'll beat some sense into you guys, and hopefully Charlotte will watch that, because one of her girls is getting her ass beat. And then Jordan goes, well, one of us. Okay, why don't all 3 of us whip your ass right now? We'll make sure that you don't even make it to WrestleMania. And Nova goes, 1, 3, who's counting, I'll take you all on right now. So our opening match is a 3-on-1 handicap. It's going to be Nova against Jordan, Aaliyah, and Skylar. And it gets a 70. I know it wasn't going to be great, because it's a 3-on-1 handicap match. But Nova does pick up the win. She pins Skylar with an Area 451 in 7 minutes and 10 seconds in a 70 rated match to, I guess, build the momentum and beat Charlotte's chosen girls, her court. 82 for Nova, 69 for Jordan, and 67 for both the Platinum Princesses. And yeah, that's a nice win to give Nova some more steam heading into a match at WrestleMania. Speaking of women, we then cut backstage to Kathy Kelly. And she goes, she's sort of like, you can see she's like on edge, like she's sort of like looking off the camera at somebody that's like intimidating her. And she goes, my guest, Rhea Ripley. And then Rhea walks into frame, like smiling, puts her arm around Kathy. She goes, so, what have you come here to speak to me about, Kathy, huh? And she's like, well, last week in the Elimination Chamber, you had the chance to punch your ticket to WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship, and Sasha Banks caught you off guard, and you got eliminated first. And then Rhea just glares at Kathy. And then Kathy sort of like awkwardly looks on, like, oh, sorry. And Rhea goes, well, let me tell you this. Do you see Sasha Banks here tonight? No, because I took care of that problem. Okay, Sasha wanted to come back and get revenge on me for what I did to her back in November, when she had the nerve to step to me on my run of dominance as the Raw Women's Champion. A title that I never lost. I was never beaten for, by the way, because Charlotte came out and stole it. And now, Nova, little old Nova, is the one going to WrestleMania to wrestle for the Raw Women's Championship. Well, not on my watch. Because Nova, if you're not a coward, I'll see you next week. And we'll see if you can make it to WrestleMania then. Because I'm more dangerous than all three of those women you just beat. Don't believe me? Go ask Sasha. Again. So there's a challenge. Rhea Ripley wants to wrestle Nova next week in a singles match. Let's see if that comes to fruition. We then cut to Alexa's office. Ivy is approaching. And she goes, sup, Alexa? She's like, great. I'm so glad you're here. I need you to be by my side tonight. And Ivy goes, I'm doing that every week, okay? What's so special about today? And Alexa just looks at Ivy. She's like, it's going to end tonight. And Ivy goes, what? What's ending tonight? And Alexa goes, don't play dumb with me. You know exactly what I mean. I'm going to go out to that ring. And I'm going to call out Paxley. And I'm going to end this once and for all. I'm going to expose who that is to the world. And you're going to be there firsthand to get the best seat in the house for it, girl. Come on, come with me. And Ivy and Alexa sort of leave the office. What was she cooking? Speaking of cooking, we then get Jeff Jarrett in the ring with Baron Corbin. And he's like, listen up, Slapnut. So you see, we're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania 39. You know, WrestleMania throughout the years been synonymous with the man here, Baron Corbin. You know, it's the biggest payday of the year. And Corbs, he's all about making that money. Okay? That's why we're all here. If you're not here to make money, why are you even in this damn business? So the biggest payday of the year requires some special appearances from Baron Corbin, and that's why, just like he did when he first arrived on the scene here in WWE, Baron Corbin will enter and win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania. But tonight is not about that. Tonight, Corbin's got AJ Styles, an old friend of mine, AJ, you know. So, let's bring him out here and let's get this check cashed. Then out comes AJ and Finn for the match, which is AJ against Baron Corbin. Gets an 80. I guess that's fine, whatever. AJ beats Baron Corbin in 8 minutes 47 with a Styles clash. 82 for Styles, 79 for Corbin. You know, more even than I really thought it would be. You know, this is actually 2 members of Bivens Enterprises as well, exploding here tonight. But it is AJ who picks up the win. And, yeah, Corbin, Andre Battle Royal at WrestleMania. AJ and Finn still yet to really find their role on the show. They go backstage to the doctor's office, and the 3 members of the Queen's Court again checked up when Charlotte walks through the door with her belt. And she goes, what happened here? She goes, it was Nova, okay? Nova. Like, Nova, what did she do, huh? You let her beat you up? Yeah, we challenged her to a match, and, we lost. And Charlotte's like, Jordan, it's one thing for me to be better than Nova, because I am, but you guys are still learning, so for one of you to challenge Nova to a match and lose, that's kind of expected, She did win the Elimination Chamber, after all. And then they sort of awkwardly look at each other, and Charlotte's like, what? And Jordan's like, it would be a thing if just one of us lost. We've tried to take her out for you, Charlotte. We had your best interests in heart. Trust me, Queen. Bow down, woo, all that. We challenged Nova 3-on-1 to a handicap match, and Charlotte's like, and you all lost? And then they all sort of only look around, just sadly nod their head. And she goes, why do I even bother with you guys? You're here to help me, and if you can't even get that done, what are you here for? Then get Bray backstage. It's another one of those backstage promos that's like not Firefly Funhouse. He's just chilling in the backstage area. And he goes, last week, a lot of you had a lot of questions about me, especially you, Drew McIntyre. Well, let me just tell you one thing, man. I came back, and after seeing my life's work crumble before me all those months ago, I vowed that this time I'd be different. This time I'd be better. And man, I promise you, man, that I'm a man of my word. So to see my friends appear live in the ring and lay you out, Drew McIntyre, I promise you that I did not send those men. Ramblin' Rabbit, Huskus, Abby, Mercy. I'm afraid that this goes beyond me and you. Because they're being controlled by somebody else. And it's him. And he's trying to get to me, man. You can't let him get to me.
We're really glad that you're our friend, and this is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Susie's in the funhouse as Susie with the puppets version of the puppets. She's like, oh, so, and it's still like all charred because we burnt it in the Firefly deletion, so it is like sort of still like on its last legs. It's not like the fully established funhouse. And there, all the puppets swarm around Susie. Go, where's Bray, dude? She's like, well, our friend Bray, he's not been all there lately. He's been a little bit sad. So he's taken some time away from our funhouse. And it's just me and you guys now. But don't worry. Our other family's here. And Bray, he'll be here soon. He must be here soon. Just let him in, Bray. Your family needs you. Revel in what you really are, Bray. 'Cause this ain't you. We then head backstage, and AJ and Finn are still like celebrating their win. And then Kathy approaches him. She's like, I know, impressive win tonight, AJ Styles. Baron Corbin, put him down. And AJ goes, I've been beating up Baron Corbin for years. I'm with Finn here at the OC, and he's got Jeff Jarrett, a man that I've beaten a lot of times in the past, Kathy. So it ain't no stress. In fact, if those guys, I'm all for Baron Corbin, end himself in that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Knock yourself out, kid. But WrestleMania, as you said, is the grandest stage of them all, the biggest payday. If you really want to make money, Jeff, Corbs, I think 2 matches would pay better than 1. How about it, Jeff, you and Corbin, me and my good brother Finn Balor here, we'll see you at WrestleMania. And then the good brothers walking around like, hey, Alan, Finn. He's like, where have you guys been? It's like, we really didn't think you needed us out there. Last time we got involved in your business, we sort of got left laying, and we feel like you didn't need us tonight, but we got your backs now you're back here, we can go celebrate Brewski style. And then AJ goes, well, first we need to go and see Alexa and get this thing sorted. And they knock on Alexa's office door. No answer, obviously. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then they're like, oh, it's open. I open the door, and no one's in the office. And then AJ just like, this has been happening a lot lately, So, yeah, AJ Styles and Finn Balor challenging Baron Corbin and Jeff Jarrett to a tag team match at WrestleMania. Hoo boy. We then see Imperium. Or Ludwig and Vinci, I guess. And Ludwig, he opens the door. Vinci arrives at his little hideout den or whatever it is. He says, so last week we thought we were going to win them tag team championships and we came up short. But life is nothing if not a bunch of setbacks. But I kind of accept that we couldn't be the tag team champions. Because a tag team championship in my collection is merely a piece of the puzzle. A lot of people have tag team championships in their collection. Do you know what people don't have? Gio. And he goes, what? And he goes, no one man walking planet Earth can say they ended Randy Orton's legendary wrestling career. But after he's been getting in our business since the Royal Rumble next week, Gio, you're gonna get that chance. I want Randy Orton's career in my collection. And Vinci's like, I'll do my best. So yeah, I guess Giovanni Vinci against Randy Orton next week. 80. That's good for a random match I just shoved on the show. Bianca Belair comes out to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo. Bianca, she's wrestles this match sort of more like aggressively. Like we get a bit more of an aggressive side of Bianca tonight because she is still mad that she didn't win the Elimination Chamber. And as far as she's aware, she's got no easy path to WrestleMania. And Deonna, I guess, mocks her for that, and in the end gets whipped by the braid, KOD, and Bianca wins in an 8-rated match. 71 for Deonna, 92 for Bianca Belair. And then Bianca celebrates after the match. She celebrates her victory, and she goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, Bianca, congratulations!" And out walks Adam Pearce. He goes, "Now, I'm sure you're all wondering what SmackDown General Manager Adam Pearce is doing here on Monday Night Raw. Well, A, judging by the job the Raw General Manager has been doing recently, you shouldn't. And B, Bianca, this does concern Raw as well as SmackDown. So Bianca, you've been one of the entire WWE Women's Division's in top faces, top stars for the past 3 years. And to see you come up short in the Elimination Chamber last week, it meant that you didn't have a clear path to WrestleMania, but quite frankly, that was never true to begin with. Because, Bianca, I have a proposal for you, and I've already run it by, Stephanie. I said I was gonna try to run it by Alexa, but she seemed busy. She wasn't really taking my phone calls instead. But let's bring out this woman. And out comes Utami, and she comes to stand by Adam Pearce. And he said, "So, Bianca Belair, here's my proposition for you. 2 years ago, Monday Night Raw held a triple threat match at WrestleMania. It was Cesaro, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre, where the winner of that match was deemed Raw's franchise player and was given 3 wishes by Stephanie McMahon and excluded from the WWE draft, which takes place 2 weeks after WrestleMania. This year, the two brands, Raw and SmackDown, are on a level playing field. SmackDown is expanded. We're now both 3 hours. Which means, instead of 3 picks for Raw and 2 picks for SmackDown in the next draft, it's going to be even split. And we have to find out just which brand gets the advantage and which brand gets bragging rights. So, my proposal is this. Bianca Belair, you do not have a clear path to WrestleMania, neither does the woman to my right, Utami Hayashishita. And this, to me, seems like a WrestleMania dream match. Raw, represented by Bianca Belair, against SmackDown, represented by Utami. With the winning woman being dubbed their brand's women's franchise player and earning their respective brand the first pick priority in the 2023 WWE draft. And Bianca sort of just looks at Pierce, looks at Utami, nods her head. She's like, I'll see you there, Pierce, I'll see you there. Her and Utami shake hands and sort of look over the WrestleMania sign. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Our women's franchise player will be crowned at WrestleMania. So yes, we now finally know what Pierce's proposition to Utami was all those weeks ago. She's SmackDown's representative in this franchise clash to determine the women's division franchise player and, by proxy, the best brand that will get the first pick in the draft. And he also says, oh, by the way, before I leave, Bianca Belair, don't get too comfortable. Because on Friday night, this woman, Utami, will team up with you to take on Mandy Rose and JC Jane of Toxic Attraction. And Bianca's like, well, sure, I'll come and kick their ass. We then get an angle. It's Dolph Ziggler. He's chilling. He's walking down the road in Cleveland. He goes, Cleveland, Ohio, you know, I may have been representing Hollywood, Florida my entire career, but Cleveland, it is where old DZ's heart is. You know, these streets growing up, these wrestling schools here growing up, where I learned to harness my craft. So when Logan Paul says stuff about him being better than me, he's actually talking trash about his own hometown. And lo and behold, guess whose gym is right here? Logan Paul's. Why don't you say old DZ gives him a visit? And Dolph Ziggler enters the gym. Logan's in there sparring with somebody. And then Dolph's like, well, way to go, Logan. And Logan's like, stop, take 5. What you doing here, Dolph? He goes, oh, you know, 23 years in the game, you know, still mid, still bad, still not as good as you. Thought I would come and see how a real wrestler trains for WrestleMania. So go on. Don't let my presence be a distraction, Logan. Why don't you carry on showing me your ways? And Logan's like, well, okay, watch and learn. And then he goes for the buckshot. And I imagine when Logan goes for the buckshot, like Dolph makes like some sort of noise or something to distract, or something to distract him, and he falls on his ass. And Dolph goes, oh, there goes the greatest wrestler of all time, Logan Paul, with a slip-up. You see, kid, it's one thing to be flashy. It's another thing to be great. And don't get me wrong, you are, for your experience, you are great. But you've got a lot to learn by picking on someone like me. And I'm going to expose that out of you at WrestleMania. And then Logan's like, well, why don't you get your ass in this ring right here and we'll fight right now. And Ziggler goes, no, DZ doesn't get paid by the hour. Okay, we'll see you at WrestleMania. Or if you want to show up on Raw next week, I'll see you face to face then. But for now, I just wanted to, you know, check by this world-class facility and watch a world-class pro in action. And you're right. I thought, hey, this would be a waste of my time, but I have picked up a thing or two, so thanks for that, Logan. And then Logan sort of, like, watches him leave angrily. He's like, yeah, get the fuck out of my gym. This is Logan goddamn Paul's gym, and he takes a swig of Prime or something. And then once we linger on Logan Paul's angry face for a bit, and then we just hear, let's go, shut it off, shut that video off. Alexa and Ivy in the ring. And she goes, right, okay, my show, cannot continue because I have some important things I need to say. So, I'm sure you're all aware that there's been a rapscallion causing chaos in the Raw Women's Division in recent weeks by the name of La Paxica, after she beat Ivy about a month ago now. But tonight it ends. Tonight I expose the world for the fraud that La Paxica really is. Because you see, this La Paxica girl, she thinks she's so funny and so cool, and that she's your favorite luchadora. But she doesn't even work here. She never had, well, she has, but she hasn't worked here. And I'm tired of her interrupting my shows and making me look incompetent, quite frankly. So get your ass out here right now.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it.
That is not La Paxica's music. Out comes the gay mug, taking his headset off from Gorilla, because he's got some things to say. And he's like, not who you're expecting, huh, Alexa? And she's like, boss man, no, not at all. What you doing out here? He goes, cut the crap, Bliss. You know exactly what I'm doing out here. You were gifted this power as the Raw General Manager. And for a while, you were making a couple of mistakes, but I couldn't entirely discredit the job you were doing. Because you do have that championship pedigree, that authority. But over the past few weeks, to say less than stellar would be an understatement, Alexa. You've been awful at your job. So, I sent Stephanie, my wife, Stephanie, to check up on these rumors that you were ignoring calls to focus on your own personal issues. And you completely blew her off. You've been ignoring phone calls, you've been ignoring knocks at the office door. Hell, I had to sort out AJ and Finn. Literally just right now before coming out here. I'm sick of it. You want to keep your job? Fine. On one condition. Alexa. And then he brings out La Paxica. La Paxica comes out of the crowd, I imagine. She's like sitting front row, and then she just takes a seat and jumps the barricade. And then comes and stands in the ring. She goes, this woman right here is what all your problems have started from. You really want to end this and prove that you're so right? Then why don't you give it a try? At WrestleMania, I'll give you this woman. And if you win, you keep your job. And La Paxica and any iterations thereof will never show up on Raw or SmackDown or WWE ever again. But if this is the risk you want to take, and you lose at WrestleMania, then your role as the Raw General Manager will be vacated. And Alexa's like, I'll take that fight. I'm going to prove to the world that you're Tatum Paxley once and for all. And Trips is like, oh, I'm glad you accepted the match because one last thing. And then La Paxica lays out Alexa with the Paxplex. And then, oh, she's unmasked. And wow, she was Tatum Paxley this whole time. So, there we go. Alexa and Tatum Paxley for WrestleMania. That's a second match on the show if I've ever heard of one. But, you know, the story's been fun, so I thought I would give it the spotlight. While other women that are scoring better are in the Battle Royal. But hey-ho, it's more about the story than just the random match that's going to score good. Speaking of the story, Manny, Dio, Sensei, Carlin with a C, Titus, Shanky, Billy, Truth, they're at the evil lair for the big meeting. And they like stop at the door, they open the door, and then Sensei goes, quick roll call. Are we sure we're all ready? And Dio's like, yeah, we're all gonna kick their ass. Like, I've been practicing my moves. It's like kung fu moves. And Sensei goes, Manny, fight like Miku. And he goes, I'ma fight like Miku. I'ma fight like Miku's watching, Sensei. More importantly, we gotta save Sarai. And Sensei's like, we're glad we're all in agreement. Now here we go. And they all enter the lair. I imagine they take a few steps, like you get the echoing hallways, and then a load of lights flick on. And then standing opposite them is the entire Resistance, like, evil group. Joe Gacy, Aziz, Wolf Gruber, Lyra Valkyria, Karrion Kross, Carcass, Cutler, Amos, Veer Mahan, and Piper Niven. With Malcolm Bivens there as well. And then Sarai in a cage. Oh, no, actually, no, imagine the two big men have got her, Aziz and Omar, that being, like, each one is holding her to their side. I'm like, greetings, I'm so glad you guys finally made it. So, I hear you have a proposition for us. And since it goes, proposition? No, we're gonna fight and kick your ass and get our friend back and her pendant back is what we're gonna do. And Gacy goes, well, it seems there appears to be a misconception, a misunderstanding of who's in control right now. You see, there are 11 of us, and this special pendant, and there are only 8 of you, because we have the woman who can trigger this pendant's great power. So how about it? You guys are outnumbered, but hell, that's never stopped you doing dumb stuff before. A fight of this magnitude could lead the fate of the entire MWA world in its hands. And I don't think a place like this is the right battlefield for a fight of that magnitude. But your friend here, she's not really talking right now, so we'll let you have her back. And they sort of toss Sarai over, and then Manny catches her. He's like, are you okay? And she like nods her head. She's like, yeah. And Sensei and Dio and everyone else just look back at Gacy as he keeps talking. He goes, because she's not going to be much help, because I am proposing the greatest battlefield that the world has ever seen. A grand stage, bigger than any stage you've ever seen. This ends. If you win, we will give up the pendant, and our quest for peace will have hit an unfortunate roadblock. But when we win, all of you, join our crusade and help us activate the true power of the pendant. And they all sort of look at each other, the baby faces do. And they're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 now with Sarai. Got 10 of them. Like, we'll find a 10th guy. You're on, Manny says, acting irrationally. And Gacy goes, you see, I don't even think you believe that. But I admire your bravery. For the great evil has combined and will take over. And Karrion Kross steps forward. He gets in Carlin's face. He goes, look at you, kid. You could have it all. You could have been the great evil. But you're not. Because evil runs through my veins, not yours. You're just a bum. And your name, Carland, with a C. That's not cool. But don't worry. Once the resistance of great evil wins, Maybe we'll take you back, kid. Nothing personal. And then Bivens steps forward in front of Titus. And he goes, this could have all been avoided, big man, you know? This whole thing, me and you. But it ain't, because you decided to keep your little world records going. But it doesn't matter. You've got your giant back there. We got our giant. We got Veer Mahan. We got Piper Niven. And you've got a bunch of idiots on your side, or we've got great evil and great power. You're going to regret the day you picked on Bivens Enterprises. And then the faces sort of like leave because they realise they're outnumbered. And then they leave, and then they put Saray down on the floor, like, are you okay? They tend to her, like, wounds or whatever. And then the back goes, oh, where are we going to get a 10th person from? And Titus goes, it's going to be, we've got to ask around because right now we're incredibly outnumbered. But yes, the grandest battlefield, grander than any stage they could have fought on before, will host the season finale showdown. The entire Resistance, that being Joe Gacy, Aziz, Wolf Gruber, Lyra Valkyria, Karrion Kross, Carland, Carcass, no, not Carland, Cutler, Carcass, Omos, Veer Mahan, and Piper Niven. Will take on Manny Kun, Dio Senpai, Young Sensei, Saray, Titus O'Neil, Billy Kay, Slim Shanky, R-Truth, Carland with a C, and that's it so far. Maybe if they can find a 10th person to even the odds, who knows? But we follow that up with an actual important segment. And Montez Ford is in the ring. And he's not his normal hype self. He's not in his ring gear, he's just in normal, like, clothes. And he goes, for years now, the Street Profits have been one of your favourite tag teams, one of the greatest tag teams here in WWE. You know, we wanted the smoke. Me and Dawkins, we were inseparable. I like to still think that that's the case. And for years, all we heard was, when's Tez going solo? Dawkins. No one's going to care about Dawkins once Tez goes solo. But last week, Dawkins, my brother Dawkins, who I love from the bottom of my heart, he kept hold of that Intercontinental Championship. And he beat me in the process. So this entire time, in fact, no, get me Dawkins and I want to say this to his face. And out comes Dawkins. And he's like, fam, you know, what's going on, Tiz? You know, what are you doing? And he goes, Dawkins, you know, everybody believed that the Street Profits and you were holding me back. And I never believed it. And I was right to never believe it. Because we were holding you back, man. Since you won that Intercontinental Championship, I've done nothing but be an obstacle in your way. And I understand the way you're looking at me, the way you roll your eyes when I speak, the way I'm around you, and try and we get this tag team back together. That you don't want a part of it. That you're the Intercontinental Champion, you're doing your own thing, you're the man right now. And I'm not. But Dawkins, I promised that the Street Profits would never end this way. But the choice isn't up to me. He then picks up the chair that he was sat on. And he looks at it. And he goes, Dawkins, after all this time that I've been holding you back, I get it. You don't want to be here. For you, the Profits are down. So if you want to end this right now, and we go our separate ways, and you thrive by yourself as the Intercontinental Champion, and he hands Dawkins the chair, and just turns his back to him. Like, imagine he's facing the ramp, like arms out wide, just with his back turned to Dawkins, eyes closed, and he goes, then pull the trigger. And Dawkins sort of looks shocked. He looks down, he looks at the chair in his hands, and he looks up at Tez. And I can imagine this is actually kind of a tense moment, because, like, people don't want the Street Brothers to break up, but, like, this could be it. Dawkins, like, you can see he's like really like debating it. He holds the chair and he grasps the chair. He starts shaking it, like he's holding back his emotions. And he has to make a decision. Is this gonna be the end of the Street Profits?
Sheesh! Sheesh, please!
When the crowd erupts into boos, sheesh, 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 please. Okay, I didn't come out here. I didn't want to be a part of this high school drama. Will they, won't they, are they friends? Who cares? What I do know is what they are, and that's what Angelo Dawkins is, and that's the Intercontinental Champion. And to see that prestigious wrestling championship reduced to this... Neither of you are doing it any favors right now. You're both letting it sit back there. In fact, it's sitting on the floor right now. Who cares about the Street Profits drama? Who cares whether profits are up or down? I care about that championship. So, if you two have got nothing of significance to contribute to that championship, why don't you scoot on out of Chad Gable's ring, sort this drama bullshit out in the back, and I'm gonna wrestle, and I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna earn myself a shot at that championship at WrestleMania. Shish, now go, shish, shish, shish. And Dawkins, he grabs the chair, he looks at Tez again, and then he swings it at Gable. Gable gets taken out into the midsection. He leaves Gable lying with the powerbomb or whatever his new finisher is, and then he grabs the belt and just leaves through the crowd. And Tez, he turns around, he looks, he's like, he doesn't really understand what's going on. But then he leaves up the ramp. That's when Zergus' music hit, and he comes down to wrestle Chad Gable in their match. And him and Montez Ford get face to face, because they've been having issues recently. And then they sort of cross paths without anything physical happening. And then we go to commercial to get Chad Gable versus Zergus the Mighty coming back from the break. Which gets an 88 somehow. And it's Zergus who wins, because Gable, he got left laying by Dawkins. Zergus beats him with the betrayal in 11 minutes and 10 seconds. 86 for Chad Gable, 74 for Zergus. So yeah, what I imagine, I probably didn't do it justice, I imagine it being actually really emotionally tense. And then Gable's shoosh at the start of his theme song, breaking up that tension. And now Zergus has beaten Gable, but both of these men do want a title shot, And Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford are still beefing, we've still got Sheamus lurking somewhere, Mustafa Ali, John Morrison. The IC title picture is really up in the air right now. Speaking of title pictures, we get Cody. Because we had a lot of promos on this show, there was no room for Cody to make his grand entrance. So we're just going to cut a promo from the Nightmare Factory, showing him training and recapping his meeting with Roman on SmackDown, before he announces that he's going back to SmackDown this week. Roman and Seth show. Speaking of World Championships, out comes Gunther. And he stands in the ring with his world title. And he goes, last week, after I, the Ring General, once again put on a classic with Ilja Dragunov, I was disrespected by my former allies. Pete, Dudley, I'm sorry that you're so attached to Regal. I'm sorry that you can't make it to the World Championship without him. But to me, he was dead weight. And I've proven just that. But now, we look at WrestleMania, the grandest stage of them all. And it appears all three of you want a bit of my championship. So who is it gonna be? Then out they all come, one by one. And all four of the men staring at each other in the ring. And Dudley goes, you say that we're relying too much on Regal. I actually disagree, but what me and Pete did, standing by Regal's side in that hospital bed, when you left him laying, was out of respect for the man that helped bring us here and bring us to this level. There'd be no Tyler Bate without William Regal. There'd be no Dudley Davis without William Regal. My entire career dedicated to William Regal. So, it's less so me needing Regal by my side and me wanting Regal by my side. And seeing you do that to a man I respect so much, I couldn't stand by. And then Ilja takes the mic and he goes, and to say that we wouldn't be near the World Heavyweight Championship without William Regal is bold. Do you remember who got you that match in the first place? In fact, Dudley and Pete were put into the Royal Rumble. I was put on SmackDown. None of us were anywhere close to the World Championship, but you were gifted that match. You were the hand-picked Regal Coalition member to chase that World Championship. And that's how you repay a man that we all respect, a man that we all owe our careers to. And I know I have your number. I've beaten you before for a championship. So if I get another chance to do it and we run back the match everybody's talking about from last week, I'll do it again. And Pete goes, well, hang on, guys. If me and Dudley stood by Regal's side in the hospital because we didn't want to leave him and leave a man we respected so much, what are we doing back here on Raw? Out comes William Regal himself. And he stands on the ramp and he goes, My, Gunther, I must, first of all, Gunther, I must say that my respect to you has not gone down at all. If anything, it has gone up. Because it proved that you're not afraid to get nasty, to stay on top. And I respect that. As a villain, it warms my cold, dead heart, it does. But that being said, I can't sit idly by and watch a man who tried to take me out for good reign as the champion. Someone has to knock you off your perch. And quite frankly, this entire time you've dominated Raw under my guidance. I knew there were 3 men that could have your number. And those are the 3 men you see standing in front of you in that ring right now. The question is, who will have your number at WrestleMania, Gunther? Will it be the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne? Will it be Ilja Dragunov, or will it be Dudley Davis? Well, that does leave us in quite the pickle there, doesn't it? Because we do have 3 people with an equal desire to dethrone the Ring General and prove that the Regal Coalition way of life helped them get to the top and actually respect what we did. You say the mat is sacred, you say you respect this great sport, and I don't doubt you for 1 second. But it's time to back those words up, General. Because my proposition is this. You defend your World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 39 against Pete Dunne and Dudley Davis and Ilja Dragunov in a fatal 4-way match. And Gunnar goes, huh? Is that your big plan, Regal? Huh? You want me to destroy every single one of your boys? Who's gonna come crying to you once your last dying wish backfires and you prove what everybody already knows, and that there's only one true dominant champion in this ring, and his name is Gunther? He raises the title up. So I guess that's as much of a yes as we're gonna get from Gunther. So it will be a fatal 4-way for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania for the first time in 23 years. A World Championship fatal 4-way at WrestleMania. Gunther will defend against Pete Dunne, Dudley Davis, and Ilja Dragunov. You know, a month ago, this was a triple threat, you know. But Ilja has popped off in, like, just over this 1 month. I imagine he's exploded in popularity, like he's super over based on the performance he's been putting in. I can't not put him in. So, we've gone from a triple threat to a fatal 4-way, which I actually like better, because now we don't have 2 triple threat world title matches, which I this whole time I was like, hey, was 2 triple threat title matches like kind of weird? Like, they're both triple threats. But I guess it doesn't matter now because one of them's a fatal 4-way. This could easily main event the show because this might even be the best match across the entire WrestleMania. But yeah, there we go. It feels better as like that hot opener or something like that. But it will. I can tell you without uncertain terms, this will be a banger. Speaking of WrestleMania title matches, it's time to begin our quest to find out who will be wrestling for the Raw Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. As the Tag Team Gauntlet starts off tonight with the Good Brothers. We saw them earlier on. I forgot to mention that earlier on when they said, like, where were you during our segment with Jeff Jarrett and all them? They also would have slipped in. Oh, by the way, we also have that gauntlet to prepare for, so yeah. So yeah, they are in this gauntlet. But unfortunately for them, they are the first team out. Emerson Frost pins Luke Gallows with a triple C in 7 minutes and 3 seconds. That's Emerson Frost and Ken Cobain of the grand jury. 66 for Carl Anderson, 61 for Gallows, 70 for Ken, and a 68 for Emerson. And then out come the next team, which I believe is the Bionic Breed? Yes. And the grand jury wins this one as well. Emerson Frost pins Dijak with a triple C. I guess Emerson Frost is getting all the pins. I don't know, I didn't say that by design. It goes 10 minutes 53, this one's a little bit longer, because the Bionic Breed are 2 credible singles wrestlers. 84 for Buddy, 73 for Dijak, 71 for Ken, and a 66 for Emerson. And then out comes our next team, making his WWE in-ring main roster debut alongside Shinsuke Nakamura of Ichiban, Minoru Suzuki, and Shinsuke Nakamura enter the fray, and they get an 85. And the impressive run, because the story is, Dolph Ziggler's a face in his feud with Logan Paul. So Emerson and Ken are going to go on a bit of a run, like try and get that babyface momentum, because then I can justify doing the whole group babyface instead of just Ziggler. But their impressive run does come to an end here in 12:24. Shinsuke pins Emerson with a Kinshasa to allow Ichiban to advance. 63 for Suzuki, 88 for Shinsuke, 71 for Ken, and 75 for Emerson. So after getting those 2 pins, he did take the pin, so I guess it all evens up. And then the final team comes out, which is the Viking Raiders. And that match gets a 9. Yep, I definitely picked the right team to win, because the ratings turned blue once Ichiban got involved, because Shinsuke Nakamura is overpowered in this game, and I had to put him on WrestleMania. And here we are. Ichiban defeat the Viking Raiders, 9:38. Suzuki pins Ivar with the reverse DT backbreaker. Probably wouldn't have him do the power driver. Maybe save that for a big WrestleMania match that he's now earned. 65 for Suzuki, 88 for Shinsuke, 83 for Eric, and 85 for Ivar. That is very good performances from the Vikings. I didn't realise they were scoring that high. That's cool. Next week, we have a couple of big announcements, including Logan Paul will make his return to Monday Night Raw after what we saw earlier on with Dolph Ziggler visiting his gym, and him and Dolph Ziggler will go face-to-face once again on the road to their match at WrestleMania. But speaking of matches, we saw it earlier on. Ludwig Kaiser said he wants to claim the career of Randy Orton. He wants to kill the Legend Killer, and he may not get the chance to do that next week, but Giovanni Vinci, his new ally, does when him and Randy Orton go one-on-one on next week's episode of Monday Night Raw. And as we just saw, Ichiban won the right to wrestle for the Raw Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, and Minoru Suzuki makes his singles WWE main roster debut on next week's show when he faces Akira Tozawa. And then, in what is probably going to be the main event of the show, Elimination Chamber winner Nova Nebula on her path to WrestleMania has been called out by Rhea Ripley, and she's not one to back down from any challenge. So it will be Nova Nebula taking on Rhea Ripley on next week's episode of Raw. But moving on from Raw next week, we do have a lot of new announcements for WrestleMania, including what we just learned of the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The new attitude of Shinsuke Nakamura once Minoru Suzuki came on the scene, and the two of them get the chance to claim championship gold as Ichiban look to take down the long-running tag team champions Path of the Dragon at WrestleMania. And also earlier on tonight, the wrestling's worst kept secret was exposed. La Paxica was Tatum Paxley this whole time, and her and Alexa Bliss have a score to settle that goes back months. And if Alexa wins, Tatum is gone from WWE and she will never appear, never get a contract again. But if Tatum wins, she does get that WWE contract, and Alexa's job as the Raw general manager will be terminated. And then also, speaking of women, we have the Raw Women's Championship match we learned of last week. Raw Women's Champion Charlotte Flair puts her gold on the line against Nova Nebula, the winner of the Elimination Chamber. And that's not all for women's matches, because neither of those women will be the Women's Division's franchise player. That will be either Raw's Bianca Belair or SmackDown's Utami Hayashishita. Adam Pearce has concocted some plan to crown the brand supremacy and the Women's Division's franchise player getting their winning brand advantage in the WWE draft. A whole lot on the line as Bianca Belair and Utami battle it out at WrestleMania, and we just heard from the mouth of William Regal that the World Heavyweight Championship will be on the line as Gunther defends his title against Pete Dunne, Dudley Davis, and Ilja Dragunov in a fatal four-way match that should be won for the ages, if I do say so myself. Dominic. He comes to the ring with Anthony Nese, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago my sad excuse of a deadbeat father came to this ring, and he poured his heart out for all of you. He made it look like Rey Mysterio was gonna retire. And we haven't seen him since, so maybe he was a man of his word this time. It's not like my dad to, keep a promise. But hey, today's a brand new day. Today's my celebration, since I wasn't invited first time. My celebration, my funeral of the career of Rey Mysterio. And as you see, Aaliyah, Mom, Dad didn't invite me to his grand farewell. But you two have always stuck by me, and I'm glad you two have managed to make it. And now, a word from the fine man to my right, the reason why I got here today where I am, Mr. Anthony Nese. And he's got glasses on, he's got a suit and tie, and he goes, "Thank you, Dom. Now, this message is brought to you by the Nese Business, the hottest business in Cruiserweight Wrestling, ahead of the face of Cruiserweight Wrestling, Dominic Mysterio." Now, Rey Mysterio for many years highlighted Cruiserweight Wrestling both in WCW and here in WWE. But it's time to move on. Because you see, Rey himself created the next generation of Cruiserweight Wrestling when he helped produce this incredible talent known as Dominic Mysterio. A man who I dare I say has eclipsed everything his father ever did. But Rey, because he doesn't like the actions of the Nese Business, refused to honor a promise he made to give his son his mask when the time came to it. But Dominic doesn't need that mask. That mask is nearly just a necessity for him to prove that he's better than his father ever was. Dominic's got what he needs, and he's got his Cruiserweight Championship. He goes, "Oh, thank you, Anthony, I'm flattered." Now he goes, "Mom, Aaliyah, any words you want to say?" And then Angie's like, "Dom, why?" He goes, "Why? Why am I doing this? Huh? Why don't you go home and go ask your husband why? Why has he disrespected his son all these years? Why did it get to this point? Because he made it get to this point. And now Now I never have to see his face at work ever again. And his toxic, damaged home life is your problem, not mine. Okay, because I'm the champion. He's not. I'm going to WrestleMania. He's not. I'm the best Mysterio to ever set foot in a WWE ring. And guess what, Mom? Dad's not. Your meal ticket is over. Your time of being in the spotlight is over. In fact, you two, I'm done with you two as well. It's not just my dad. If you want to stick by my dad's side, you can get out of my face as well. And then Aaliyah's like, Dom, what have we done? Like, you don't have to blow up the entire family like this. He goes, yes, I do. Okay? Go and speak to Dad, Tell him to get his ass out here and fix what he made. Huh? He's not going to come out here and hit me. Huh? Are you? And then he turns around and Angie slaps Dominic in the face. And Anthony Nese, I imagine, is shocked. And then Angie just gets in his face and goes, get to the back. And he goes, oh, look, she's trying to tell me what to do. She's trying to tell me what to do, like I still listen to her. And then he goes to walk away, and she grabs him as he goes to walk away. But then, out of instinct, Dominic sort of, turns around aggressively and shoves her to the floor. To a massive shock to the audience. As Dominic had just shoved Angie on her ass. And Anthony Nese is shocked. Aaliyah shocked. Angie shocked. Dom himself is even shocked. You can tell he kind of regrets doing it. But it's happened now. And you can see she goes angry. She gets pissed off, starts shaking her head, looking up at Dom. And then Aaliyah gets in his face, what the hell are you doing? Why have you just shoved Dom on the floor, huh? And then Anthony Nese, he pulls Dom away. He goes, let's leave, Dom. Let's leave. This got out of hand. This is over. This is over. And Dominic just looks back at his family as he's on the apron. Just shakes his head. Hops off the apron and walks to the back. To close the show. I accidentally put Ray on instead of Angie. Ray wasn't here. But, yeah. Tensions to end Monday Night Raw. More family drama. Because we didn't have enough of that on SmackDown, apparently. 93 rated show. Better than I thought it would be, because the final stretch of the gauntlet was better than I thought it was going to be. But yes, that is Raw done with. But the episode is still not over, because we do have Heat. Heat kicks off with tag team action. Mackie and Tam, representing J-Flow this time, the two, aces, quote-unquote, of the group, defeat the team of April Halliwell and Rosie Riley in 11 minutes 6, with Mackie pinning Rosie with a diving headbutt. 75 for both J-Flow girls, 50 for Rosie, and a 45 for April. Just thought I would try that out, because that seemed like they seemed to vibe. So I thought I would try it. But neutral chem, so that doesn't mean no, but doesn't necessarily mean absolutely. But yeah, I was trying out random teams from women I have in NXT. And yeah, J-Flow were a decent win. 70 rating. They didn't seem to click, which is unfortunate, because I thought this was going to be really good. Florence, she wasn't on Raw this week. I guess she's just sort of taken a backseat while the Regal Coalition explodes. But she is on Heat. She beats Shotzi with the Haterade in 14 minutes 1 second. They both score 66s, but again, they don't click. So that's not really a sign of how well they're actually doing, because I think Florence is getting I think they're both getting mid-70s, actually. Yeah. 66, which for what it is a really good match. Roxy Perez picks up a win over Anne-Marie Porter. 7:38 Pop Rocks. 58 for Roxy, 66 for Anne-Marie, and just another nice win to keep Roxy's momentum going. Because I need her momentum and Pop to start picking up. I mean, it's not a death sentence if it doesn't, because it will get up anyway. But it would be ideal if it could get up as fast as it could. So it's fine. Yeah, Roxy with another win over Anne-Marie. Then the main event, 79. That's one of the better Heat matches of all time. Julia and Sonya team up. Because, again, neither of those were on Raw this week. We had a pretty busy show. They beat Smile and Shine. 14:34. Julia pins Tegan, diving crossbody. 83 for Julia, 74 for Sonya, 71 for Tegan, 65 for Kylie. And yeah, no shenanigans with Trish and Lita this week. Just a normal show, because the champions are headed to SmackDown because Liv is wrestling Toni Storm. So they weren't on Heat this week. So developments in that saga, I guess, we'll pick up with on SmackDown. But for now, Heat is over 76, which I guess is a good episode of Heat, but what really matters is what you thought of Raw. A very important Raw this week, I thought. A lot of stuff advanced, and the road to WrestleMania seems a lot clearer. And yeah, I'll see you next time for SmackDown, with the aforementioned Liv Morgan versus Toni Storm match, I guess. And as we heard earlier on today, the American Nightmare heading back to SmackDown. What will he have to say? Tune in to find out, I guess.